Hi, dear friend. You've found a quiet place to rest and dream. Tonight, we'll drift alongside an ancient traveler, floating through the dark between stars, carrying messages we hoped someone might hear. Let yourself settle now. Let your shoulders drop, your breathing slow. There's nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to solve. The universe is vast and patient, and so can you be. All you need to do now is listen, and let the story carry you gently toward rest. Breathe in, hold it softly, and release. You are safe here. I don't know how long I've been out here. Time moves differently when you're alone with the stars. Days blend into weeks, weeks into months, and eventually you stop counting altogether. The ship hums around me, a low mechanical lullaby that never quite stops. It's become the sound of my life now, steady, predictable, almost comforting in its constancy. But today something changed. I saw it on the long-range scanner first. A small blip tumbling slowly through the void, far from any planetary body, far from any trajectory that would suggest purpose or destination. At first, I thought it might be debris. Space is full of forgotten things, broken satellites, spent rocket stages, fragments of missions that didn't quite make it home. But as I adjusted the scanner, refined the readings, I realized this object was old, very old, and it was moving with intention, even now, after all these years. It was a probe, one of ours, one of humanity's earliest emissaries to the stars, Voyager. The name appeared on my screen like a whisper from another lifetime. Voyager 1, launched in 1977, more than a century before I was born. I knew the story, of course, everyone did. It was the spacecraft that left our solar system, the first human-made object to cross into interstellar space. It carried a golden record, a collection of sounds and images from Earth, a message in a bottle thrown into an ocean we barely understood. And now, by some impossible coincidence, our paths had crossed. I changed course. It took 3 days to reach it, 3 days of quiet anticipation, of wondering what I might feel when I finally saw it with my own eyes. Would it be like meeting a legend? Or would it just be metal and circuits, a relic of a time I never knew? As you rest now, imagine drifting through that emptiness. Picture the stars scattered like salt across black velvet, distant and unblinking. Imagine the silence so complete that even your heartbeat feels. That's where I was. That's where I still am. And then, there it was, small, so much smaller than I expected. A fragile-looking thing, its golden antenna pointing uselessly into the dark, its instruments long since powered down. The solar panels, designed to drink sunlight, had been starved for decades. The radioisotope generator that once kept it alive had decayed to near silence. Voyager was drifting now, inert, a ghost ship sailing an endless sea, but it was still here, still moving, still traveling. I maneuvered my ship closer, slowly, carefully, as if approaching something sacred. The probe tumbled gently in the void, rotating once every few hours, showing me different facets. Its dish, its magnetometer boom, the golden record tucked safely beneath its protective cover. I could see the wear on its surface, the tiny pockmarks from micrometeorite impacts, the dust of interstellar space clinging to its frame. It had been alone for so long, longer than any human being had ever lived, longer than most nations had existed. It had outlasted empires, outlived its creators, and still it pressed on, silent and steadfast, doing what it was built to do. I wonder sometimes if machines can feel loneliness, if somewhere in their circuits, in the flow of electricity that once animated them, there's something like awareness. Not consciousness, perhaps, but something. A kind of memory, an echo of purpose. Or maybe loneliness is something we project onto them because we can't bear the thought of being alone ourselves. Let your mind wander now. Let your thoughts drift like Voyager drifts, without urgency, without destination. There's no need to hold on tightly to anything. The story will keep flowing, and you can simply float alongside it, weightless and free. I spent hours just watching it. My ship held position 100 meters away, and I sat in the observation window, looking at this small, brave machine that had traveled farther than anyone had ever dreamed it would. The mission planners gave it 5 years, maybe 10 if they were lucky. But Voyager kept going. 45 years, 50, more, until finally its power ran out and its voice went silent. But even in silence, it continued. There's something beautiful about that, something almost defiant. The universe doesn't care about our intentions, our dreams, our carefully laid plans. It's indifferent to hope and despair alike, and yet Voyager kept moving, kept existing, as if to say, I am here. I was made. I mattered. I thought about the people who built it, engineers and scientists, most of them gone now, their names forgotten by all but a few historians. They poured years of their lives into this mission, into every calculation, every weld, every line of code. They stayed up late, drank bad coffee, argued over designs, celebrated small victories. They had families, hopes, fears. They were human, and they sent a part of themselves out here, wrapped in metal and powered by decaying atoms. The golden record was their greatest act of optimism, a message to anyone or anything that might find it. It contained sounds of earth, wind, rain, thunder, the songs of whales, a baby crying, a kiss, laughter. It held music from dozens of cultures, greetings in 55 languages, images of human life and the world we call. It was a way of saying, we existed. If you find this, know that we reached out to you, even though we never knew if you. I wondered if anyone would ever find it. If, millions of years from now, some curious being might pluck it from the dark and press their equivalent of an ear to it, trying to decode what these strange symbols meant. Would they understand? Would they care? Or would it drift forever, unheard, a love letter to no one? You don't need to stay awake for the answer. Let the questions float away like stars. Let your body sink deeper into rest. The universe holds its mysteries lightly, and so can you. I decided to get closer. I suited up, checked my tether, and stepped out into the transition from the ship's interior to open space is always jarring. The sudden absence of sound, the cold that seeps through even the best insulation, the overwhelming vast pressing in from all sides. But I've done this dozens of times. I know how to move carefully, how to stay calm. I activated my maneuvering jets and drifted toward the probe. Up close, it was even more beautiful. The craftsmanship, the attention to detail. Every bolt, every panel, every wire had been placed with care. This wasn't just a machine. It was art. It was love. I reached out and touched it. My gloved hand rested on the cool metal. And for a moment, I felt something I can't quite describe. A connection, a kinship. Here we were, two travelers, both far from home, both carrying pieces of humanity into a place that would never know us. I looked at the golden record. Even after all these years, it still gleamed softly in the distant starlight. I traced the grooves etched into its surface, the encoded images and sounds, the mathematics that explained how to decode them. Someone, somewhere, had believed this would matter, had believed it was worth doing, even if no one ever heard it. That kind of hope feels almost reckless now, but maybe that's what makes it. I floated there for a long time, just holding on to Voyager, feeling the faint vibration of space itself through my gloves, the cosmic background radiation, the whisper of the Big Bang still echoing after 14 billion years. Out here, you can feel how old the universe is, how patient, how indifferent. And yet, we keep trying, we keep reaching, we keep hoping. I float here in the stillness, suspended between heartbeats, watching Voyager tumble in its slow, eternal rotation. The golden record catches starlight and throws it back, a brief glimmer in the dark. And I find myself wondering about all the things we didn't put, the silences the pauses between words, the moments when we had nothing but said it anyway, just to fill the air with sound because the quiet was too heavy to bear alone. There's a groove on that record, near the outer edge, that contains the sound of a pulsar, a neutron star spinning hundreds of times per second, sending out beams of radiation like a cosmic lighthouse. We put it there as a map, a way to show where Earth is in relation to 14 specific pulsars, their periods encoded in binary. If someone finds this, we think, they'll be able to trace those signals back, calculate the distances, triangulate our position in space and time. But pulsars slow down, their rotation decays. Give it a few million years, and those measurements will be useless. The map will point nowhere. Earth's location will become a mystery again, untraceable, lost in the noise of a galaxy that never stops moving. Maybe that's fitting. Maybe we were never meant to be found. Maybe the record was always more about the sending than the receiving, more about us than about them, whoever they might be. I think about the woman who selected the music for the record, Anne Druyan. I read about her once in an archive file buried deep in my ship's library. She fell in love during the making of Voyager, and she knew it, felt it happening in real time as she was choosing which pieces of humanity to send into the stars. And she wanted to put that on the record too, her love, her joy, the electrical patterns of her brain in that moment of overwhelming feeling. So they did. They hooked her up to sensors and recorded her thoughts, her neural activity, and encoded it onto the record. It's there, somewhere in the grooves, invisible and unreadable to anyone who doesn't know what they're looking for. Her love, translated into data, into ones and zeros, into waves and pulses, floating out here forever. I wonder if that makes Voyager a love letter, not just to potential alien civilizations, but to existence itself. A way of saying, this is what it feels like to be alive, to be human, to look at someone and feel the universe reorganize itself around them. This is what it means to hope so hard it hurts. The probe continues its rotation, and I see the magnetometer boom again, that delicate arm reaching out like it's trying to touch something just beyond its grasp. It measured magnetic fields for decades, sensing the invisible forces that shape space, that guide particles and bend trajectories. It felt things we could never feel, translated them into numbers, into graphs, into understanding. And then it stopped feeling. The power died. The sensors went dark. But the arm is still there, still reaching, frozen in its last gesture of inquiry. I push myself closer again using tiny bursts from my suit thruster. The movement is slow, dreamlike, the way everything is out here. There's no friction to stop you, no air resistance to fight against. You move and you keep moving until something stops you. And out here, there's nothing to stop you. You could drift forever, carried by the momentum of a single push, traveling across light years in silence. That's what Voyager is doing, coasting. It used its last bit of fuel decades ago, made its final course correction, and then just let go. Let the universe carry it. Surrendered to the momentum it had built up over years of gravitational assists and engine burns. There's something peaceful about that, about reaching the point where you've done all you can do, where the striving is over and all that's left is to drift, to trust that the path you're on is the right one, even if you can't see where it leads. Maybe that's what sleep is, a kind of surrender, a letting go. You close your eyes and trust that your body knows what to do, that your heart will keep beating, your lungs will keep breathing, your dreams will carry you somewhere worth going, even if you don't remember the journey when you wake. Let yourself drift now. Let the tension in your shoulders dissolve. Let your jaw unclench. You've been holding on so tightly for so long. It's okay to let go. Voyager did. It's still here, still traveling, and so will you be. I'm close enough now to see the individual components, the boxes, and plates and wires that make up its body. Each one was designed by someone, tested by someone, installed by someone who believed it would matter. They worked in clean rooms wearing special suits, handling each piece with care because they knew that once Voyager left, there would be no repairs, no second chances. Everything had to work perfectly the first time, and it had to keep working for years, decades, longer than any spacecraft had ever operated before. And it did. It worked. It kept working long past its expected lifespan, long past the point where it had any right to still be functioning. Components that were supposed to last 5 years lasted 50. Systems that should have failed in the cold and radiation of deep space just kept going, kept doing their jobs, faithful and uncomplaining. There's something almost miraculous about that, about human ingenuity, human craftsmanship, human hope manifesting in metal and silicon and succeeding beyond anyone's wildest dreams. I touch the probe again, letting my hand rest on its frame. Through my glove, I can feel the faint vibration of space itself, the quantum fluctuations that never stop, the endless dance of particles appearing and disappearing in the void. Everything is always. Even in the deepest cold, even in the most profound silence, there is motion. There is life. Or maybe that's just me projecting again, wanting to find connection in place that doesn't exist. Wanting to believe that we're not alone, that the universe is less empty than it appears. But Voyager doesn't judge me for that. It just floats, indifferent and patient, carrying its cargo of human hope through the endless night. I think about the other sounds on the record, the ones that seem random at first, but reveal a strange poetry when you think about them too long. A tractor, a ship's horn, a kiss, a human heartbeat recorded from a pregnant mother. So you're hearing two heartbeats at once, the mother and the child, two lives intertwined, two rhythms syncing and separating and syncing again. Why did we choose those sounds? What did we think they would communicate to an alien intelligence? That we build machines, that we kiss, that we grow our children inside our bodies? Or maybe we were just trying to capture the texture of human life, the strange mix of the mechanical and the emotional, the way we're caught between being animals and being something else, something that reaches beyond survival into meaning, into beauty, into the creation of things that outlast. The tractor breaks down, the ship sinks, the kiss ends, the heartbeat stops. But the recording goes on, the message persists. Voyager carries it forward. A testimony to moments that no longer exist, lives that have ended, a world that's already changed beyond recognition from the one that sent this probe into the sky. We are all ghosts on that record, all of us. The musicians, the scientists, the child saying hello in Sumerian, the person operating the tractor, the couple kissing. We're haunting our own message, speaking from a past that grows more distant with every kilometer Voyager travels. We're still reaching, still hoping, still saying, we were here. We mattered. Please, if you find this, know that we tried. I pulled back slightly, giving the probe space, and I noticed something I hadn't seen before. A tiny dent in one of the panels, barely visible, the size of a grain of sand. A micrometeorite impact, probably. Some small piece of cosmic debris, moving at impossible speed, punching through the void and leaving its mark. Voyager has scars, battle damage from decades of silent warfare against entropy, against the slow grinding down of everything in the universe. And it survived. It kept going. It refused to be destroyed. There's a word for that, I think. Resilience. The ability to take damage and not break. To absorb the impact and continue. But there's another word too. Stubbornness. The refusal to accept defeat, even when defeat is inevitable. The decision to keep going not because there's hope of success, but because giving up would mean admitting that the universe wins, that chaos and entropy and meaninglessness are the final answers. And we can't accept that. We won't. So we build machines like Voyager and send them out to prove that meaning can exist, that purpose can persist, that something we make can outlast the darkness that made us. I rotate slowly, looking back toward my... It's a small light in the distance, a beacon marking where I came from, where I'll return. But for now, I'm here, suspended between two vessels, one living, one not. Both of us travelers, both of us alone, both of us carrying things we hope will matter to someone, somewhere, someday. The stars behind my ship are the same stars behind Voyager. We're all under the same sky, if sky is even the right word for this. There is no up or down out here, no north or south, no frame of reference except the ones we create for ourselves. The universe doesn't care about our directions. It doesn't care about our maps or our meanings, but we care, and that makes all the difference. I've been away from Earth for 3 years now. 3 years of watching it shrink in my rear view, watching the sun become just another star, watching the familiar constellations distort and shift as my perspective changes. I wonder if the people who built Voyager felt this same sense of dislocation, this same vertigo that comes from realizing how small we are, how brief our moment is in the... Probably they looked at the stars and felt the same ache I feel, the same desperate desire to reach out and touch something, to leave a mark that won't fade, to matter in a universe that seems designed to erase us. And so they built this small, determined machine that refuses to be forgotten. The golden record spins in my vision, catching light and casting it away. A rhythm as old as spin, flash, darkness. Spin, flash, darkness. A heartbeat, a pulse. Proof of existence. I think about the last message Voyager sent back to Earth. It was in November 2024, more than a century ago now. A simple data packet, a few kilobits of information about its status, its position, its heading. The power finally dropped below the threshold needed to operate the transmitter, and Voyager went quiet. Did it know? Did some ghost in the machine understand that it was sending its last words, its final goodbye? Or did it just keep trying to transmit over and over, sending signals too weak to be heard, calling out to a home that couldn't answer anymore? I hope there was a moment of completion, a sense of, I did what I came to do. I can rest now. But machines don't rest. They just stop. One moment they're functioning, and the next they're not. And there's no transition, no fade, no gentle dimming of awareness. Unless there is. Unless consciousness isn't binary. Unless there's something in between working and not working. Some liminal space where the machine dreams, where the circuits remember what they used to do, where purpose echoes through empty pathways like light through abandoned halls. I'm anthropomorphizing again, projecting human experiences onto something that doesn't have them. But what else can I do? I'm human. This is how I understand the world. Through metaphor, through comparison, through the assumption that what I feel, others might feel too. Even machines, even silent golden travelers spinning through the void. Your breath is slow now, rhythmic, like the rotation of a probe through space. In and out, spin and flash. Each breath is a message sent to your body. I'm here, I'm alive, keep going. And your body, it always listens. It's been listening since before you were born, and it will keep listening until the moment it can't anymore. But that moment isn't now. You're here, present, drifting in the dark between waking and sleep, between the story and the dream. And that's, I check my oxygen, still good, still enough for hours more but I won't need it. I'm almost done here, almost ready to let Voyager continue its journey without me. Almost ready to accept that this encounter, like all encounters, must end. But not yet, not quite yet. I turn my attention back to the golden record, to the protective cover that shields it from the worst of the cosmic radiation and dust. There are instructions etched into the cover, diagrams showing how to play the record, what speed to spin it at, how to decode the images stored in the grooves. We assumed that anyone who found this would be intelligent enough to figure it out, curious enough to try. And maybe they will be. Maybe the universe is full of curious minds, eager to understand, willing to put in the work to decode a message from a species they've never met. Or maybe curiosity is a uniquely human trait. Maybe other intelligences, if they exist, are content with what they know. Maybe they don't feel the need to reach out, to explore, to understand. Maybe they're smarter than us in that way, but I doubt it. I think curiosity is universal. I think anything that evolves intelligence must also evolve wonder, because what is intelligence except the ability to ask questions? And what is consciousness except the experience of not knowing and wanting to? So, I have hope. Not certainty, not expectation, just hope that somewhere, somewhen, someone will find this record and wonder about us. And in that wondering, we'll live again. We'll matter again, even if it's just for a moment. Even if they listen and shrug and move on, at least we tried. At least we reached out. At least we refused to accept the silence as final. The probe continues its rotation, indifferent to my philosophizing, indifferent to my hope and my doubt and my desperate need for meaning. It just is. It just continues. It just does what it was built to do, which is move forward, always forward, carrying its cargo into the unknown. I envy that sometimes. The simplicity of it, the clarity of purpose. Voyager doesn't wonder if it matters. It doesn't question its choices or second-guess its path. It just goes. It just exists. And in that existence, it achieves a kind of perfection we humans can never reach, because we always wonder, we always question. We're cursed with the need for meaning, the hunger for significance, the terror of being forgotten. And so we build machines to remember us. We encode our voices into metal and send them into eternity. We hope that someone somewhere will find them and understand that we were here, that we cared, that we tried to bridge the infinite distances between minds, between worlds, between moments. That's all the golden record is, really. A bridge we built without knowing if there was another shore. An act of faith in the possibility of connection. A message tossed into the dark with the hope that someone is out there to catch it. And even if no one ever does, even if it drifts forever unheard, it's still beautiful, still meaningful, because we built it, because we tried, because we refused to let the silence have the last word. I'm ready now, ready to return to my ship, to continue my own journey, to leave Voyager to its eternal drift. But before I go, I do something I didn't plan. I speak to it. Thank you. And my voice sounds strange in my helmet, muffled and close and too human for this place. Thank you for going where we couldn't, for carrying us forward, for refusing to give up. Voyager doesn't respond. Of course it doesn't. It's a machine. It doesn't hear me. It doesn't care. But I feel better having said it. I feel like I've honored something, acknowledged something, paid respect to the stubborn, beautiful courage it took to send this small thing into the infinite and hope it would matter. I push away gently, firing my thrusters, beginning the slow journey back to my ship. As I drift away, I keep my eyes on Voyager, watching it grow smaller, watching it fade back into the darkness it emerged from. And I realize something important. Voyager isn't alone because I found it. It isn't less lost because I witnessed its journey. My presence here changes nothing about its trajectory, its fate, its ultimate destination in the black between stars. But it changed something in me. It reminded me why we reach, why we try, why we refuse to accept that the darkness is all there is. Because we're not just sending messages into the void, we're sending them to ourselves, to future versions of us who might forget why they're here, what they're doing, whether any of it matters. And the answer is yes, it matters. All of it matters. Every reach, every attempt, every small act of creation and hope and stubborn defiance against the entropy that wants to erase us. Voyager matters. The golden record matters. The sounds and images and carefully encoded dreams matter. Not because someone will find them, but because we sent them, because we tried, because we refused to accept the silence. And that's enough. That has to be enough. My ship grows larger in my vision, and Voyager grows smaller, until I can't tell which is which anymore, which light belongs to my future, and which to humanity's past. They blur together, become one, become a single point of brightness in the overwhelming dark. And I understand, finally, what loneliness really is. It's not being alone. Voyager is alone, but it's not lonely. Loneliness is the gap between the connection you have and the connection you need. It's the ache of reaching and not quite touching. It's the silence between words, the space between heartbeats, the distance between souls. But maybe that gap is what makes us human. Maybe the reaching is the point. Maybe we're not supposed to bridge the distance, just to acknowledge it, to honor it, to keep trying anyway. Maybe that's what the golden record really says. Not we are here, but we are reaching. Not hear us, but we're trying to be heard. And in the trying, we become something more than we were. We become the reaching itself. We become the hope that refuses to die. We become the message we send into the dark, trusting that somewhere, somehow, it matters. The probe had traveled more than 23 billion kilometers from Earth. 23 billion. It's a number so large, it loses meaning. If you drove a car at highway speed, it would take you more than 42,000 years to cover that distance. If you walked, it would take hundreds of thousands. And Voyager did it alone, in silence, with no one to witness its journey but the stars. It passed by Jupiter in 1979, sending back images that changed our understanding of the giant planet. It revealed storms larger than Earth, moons with active volcanoes, a system so complex and beautiful it seemed almost alive. Then it moved on to Saturn, capturing the rings in stunning detail, showing us shepherd moons and intricate braids of ice and dust. And then it kept going, past Uranus, past Neptune, past the edge of what we once thought was the boundary of our solar system. It crossed the heliopause in 2012, the point where the sun's influence fades and interstellar space begins. And still it didn't stop. It's strange to think that something we built, something so small and fragile, is now part of the galaxy in a way we may never be. Long after Earth is gone, after the sun has swelled into a red giant and consumed the inner planets, after humanity is nothing but a forgotten whisper, Voyager will still be out here, drifting. If sleep is beginning to find you now, let it come. Let your thoughts drift like the probe drifts, without resistance, without worry. You are held by something larger than yourself. You are safe in the vastness. I thought about sending a message back to Earth telling them I'd found it, but what would I? I encountered Voyager 1 in the void. It's still here, still traveling. They already knew that, or at least they had known it, back when it still And now, communication lags are so long that any message I sent would take weeks, months, maybe years to reach home. By the time they received it, I'd be somewhere else, and Voyager would be farther still. So I said nothing. Instead, I just stayed with it. I let myself be present with this small, silent companion. I wondered if it had ever felt lonely. If in those long decades between Jupiter and the heliopause, when nothing changed and nothing happened, when it was just drifting through an emptiness so profound that even light took years to cross, I wondered if some part of it longed for home, or if it simply accepted its fate, the way stars accept theirs. They burn, they fade, they collapse, and they don't question why, just are. Maybe machines are wiser than we give them credit for. I tried to imagine what it had seen, what it had passed through. There are no photographs of most of its journey, no record of the countless dust grains that brushed against its hull, the faint gravitational tugs of distant stars, the invisible dance of cosmic rays passing through its instruments. All of that is lost now, experienced but not remembered, like dreams that slip away the moment you wake. But Voyager doesn't dream. It doesn't remember. The golden record caught the light again, and I thought about what it contained. Chuck Berry's Johnny Be Good, Bach's Brandenburg Concerto, a Peruvian wedding song, whale songs, the sound of a mother kissing her child, a human heartbeat. They chose a heartbeat. Of all the things they could have included, they chose the rhythm that sustains us, the sound that marks our beginning and our end. It seemed almost vulnerable, putting that on the record, like saying, this is what keeps us alive. This is the sound of being human, to my chest, feeling my own heartbeat through the suit. It was faster than usual, probably from the adrenaline, the excitement of the encounter. But it was there, steady, reliable. How many heartbeats had passed since Voyager launched? How many across all of humanity? Billions upon billions, each one a tiny drum marking time in a body, in a life, in a moment that mattered to some. And now one of those rhythms was encoded on a golden disk drifting through space, waiting for someone, something to hear it. Let your own heartbeat slow now. Let it find its gentle rhythm, the one that carries you towards sleep. You don't need to count it. You don't need to control it. It knows what to do. It's been beating since before you had thoughts, and it will keep beating as you drift into dreams. I wondered about the engineers again, the ones who designed the power system, knowing it would outlast, the ones who calculated the trajectory, sending it past planets with such precision that even a small error would have meant missing them entirely. The ones who argued about what to put on the record, knowing they could only include so much, that every choice meant leaving something else behind. Did they ever imagine this moment? Did they picture someone, something, encountering their creation billions of miles from home in a future they'd never see? Or did they just do their work, solve their problems, and hope it mattered? I like to think they knew, not consciously maybe, but somewhere deep down, they understood that what they were building was bigger than themselves, that it would outlive them, that it would carry a part of humanity farther than any human would ever go. There's a photograph on the record, the family of man. A collection of images showing human diversity, people of different cultures, ages, colors, all just living, eating, dancing, working, playing. The image of a fetus in the womb, barely visible, curled like a question mark. That one always struck me. Before we're even born, we're already asking questions, already reaching, already wondering what's out there. And Voyager is one of the answers we gave. The stars around me were so clear, so sharp. Out here, with no atmosphere to blur them, no light pollution to drown them out, they look like pinpricks in black fabric, letting through the light of something beyond. I know what they really are, distant suns, each one a furnace burning hydrogen into helium, converting mass into light and heat. Some of them are larger than our entire solar system. Some have already died, and we're just now seeing the light they emitted thousands of years ago, before humans even invented writing. And Voyager is passing between them, a tiny mote of dust in a cathedral so vast that even light takes centuries to cross it. I thought about the message on record, the greetings. There's one in English. Hello from the children of planet Earth. Simple, direct. A bit naive, maybe, but honest. Hello. We're here. We're alive. We wanted you to know. I wondered what the children who recorded that message were doing now, if they were still alive, if they remembered their moment of interstellar communication, if they ever looked up at the stars and thought, my voice is out there, my words are traveling. Probably not. Life has a way of pulling us back down, making us forget the vastness. We get caught up in the small things, bills, arguments, traffic, deadlines. We forget that we're standing on a rock hurtling through space at hundreds of kilometers per second, that we're made of atoms forged in the hearts of dying stars, that we are quite literally the universe trying to understand itself. But Voyager remembers, or rather, it embodies the memory. It is the reaching. It is the question we asked before we knew if anyone was listening. Let your questions go now. Let them dissolve like sugar in water, sweetening the dark. There's no need to solve anything tonight. The universe has waited billions of years. It can wait a little longer. I checked my oxygen levels. Still good. I could stay out here a while longer. I turned slowly, taking in the view, Voyager in the foreground, its golden antenna like a flower reaching for sunlight that would never come, and beyond it, the stars. So many stars, more than anyone could count in 100 lifetimes, and between them, the dark. The vast, patient dark that holds everything together. There's a misconception that space is empty. It's not. It's full of invisible things, magnetic fields, cosmic rays, dark matter, the quantum foam that underlies reality itself. It's teeming with particles moving at near light speed, with photons that have traveled for billions of years, with gravitational waves from colliding black holes rippling through the fabric of space-time. It's not empty, it's just quiet. And in that quiet, Voyager drifts. I wondered if it ever knew what it accomplished, if some ghost of awareness flickered through its circuits when it sent back that final transmission before its power faded and its voice went silent. Did it feel pride, satisfaction, or was it just a machine, following instructions, doing what it was built to do until it couldn't anymore? I don't know. But I know what it means to me, and I know what it meant to the people who built it. It meant hope. It meant curiosity. It meant refusing to accept that the universe was too big, too dark, too indifferent for us to matter. We matter because we try. We matter because we reach. We matter because we send machines like Voyager out into the void, carrying our voices, our music, our heartbeats, even when we don't know if anyone will ever hear them. The probe rotated slowly, and I saw the magnetometer boom swing past, a long, delicate arm that once measured magnetic fields across billions of kilometers. It looked fragile, like it might snap at any moment, but it had survived impacts, radiation, temperature swings from hundreds of degrees above zero to hundreds below. It had endured forces that would tear a human apart, and it kept going. There's a lesson in that, about persistence, about continuing even when the odds are even when no one is watching, even when the goal is so distant it seems almost mythical. Voyager will never reach another star, not in any meaningful time frame. In 40,000 years, pass within a light of a star called Gliese 4 and 45. But by then, its golden record will be coated in interstellar, its metal corroded by its systems long since decayed into randomness, but it will still be there, still carrying our message. And who knows, maybe someone will find it, maybe in 1 billion years, when Earth is a forgotten cinder and humanity is a myth, some curious intelligence will stumble upon this strange artifact, brush away the dust, and wonder, who made this? And they'll decode the record. They'll hear the sounds of wind and rain. the music we made to express things we couldn't put in. They'll see the images we chose to represent ourselves, people building, creating, dancing, reaching, and maybe they'll understand. Maybe they'll feel the loneliness the desperate hope that we weren't alone, that somewhere, someone else was looking up at the stars and wondering the same thing. Maybe the record will drift forever, unheard, unseen. Just another piece of cosmic debris in an ocean of debris. But it doesn't matter. What matters is that your breathing is slower now, deeper. Let it carry you. Let each exhale release the weight you've been holding. Let each inhale draw in the peace of the void. You're drifting now, just like Voyager drifts. Without effort, without fear, held by forces you don't need to. I pushed away from the probe gently, giving myself a slow rotation, see it from all angles one last time. It was so small against the immensity behind it, so fragile, and yet somehow also eternal. I thought about taking something, a piece of it, a fragment to bring back, proof that I'd been here, that this encounter had happened. But that felt wrong, like defacing a monument. Voyager wasn't mine to take. It belonged to the universe now. It belonged to the future. So I left it intact. I let it continue its journey, uninterrupted. I fired my thrusters and began the slow return to my ship. As I moved away, I kept looking back, watching the probe grow smaller, watching it fade back into the darkness it had emerged from. Eventually, I couldn't see it anymore. It was just another speck among specks, indistinguishable from the stars, but I knew it was there. I knew it was still moving, still traveling, still carrying its message. Back inside the ship, I sealed the airlock and removed my helmet. The air smelled stale and recycled, a sharp contrast to the purity of the void. I made my way to the observation window and looked out, trying to spot Voyager one more time. I couldn't. It was already too far, too small, too lost in the immensity. But I felt different, changed somehow, as if the encounter had shifted something inside me, rearranged my understanding of what loneliness means, what connection means, what it means to be human in a universe that doesn't care if we exist. Voyager is alone. It has been alone for decades, and it will be alone for eons more. But it's not lonely. Loneliness requires awareness of absence, a longing for something that isn't there. And Voyager doesn't long for anything. It simply is. We're the ones who feel lonely. We're the ones who look at the stars and feel the ache of separation, the desire to reach out, to connect, to know we're not the only ones wondering. And so we build machines like Voyager. We send them out, carrying our voices, our hopes, our dreams. We make them in our image, small, fragile, determined, and we set them loose in the vastness, hoping they'll find what we're looking for. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But in the trying, we become more than we were. We become a species that reaches, a species that hopes, a species that refuses to accept the silence as final. Let the silence cradle you now. Let it be a comfort. In the quiet, in the dark, there is rest. You don't need to fill every moment with sound, every space with light. Sometimes the darkness is a gift. Sometimes the silence is an answer. I set my course and engaged the engines. The ship hummed to life, and I began moving again, leaving Voyager behind. But I'll never really leave it behind. It's with me now, part of my story, part of the journey I'm on. Somewhere out there, Voyager is still traveling, still moving, still carrying the sounds of Earth through the endless dark. A heartbeat, a greeting, a song. Hello from the children of planet Earth. We are here. We were here. and we hoped you'd hear us. I hope someone does. I hope billions of years from now, when our sun is cold and our planet is dust, someone finds that golden record and listens. I hope they hear the laughter, the music, the mother's kiss. I hope they understand what we were trying to say. But even if they don't, even if the record drifts forever in silence, it's okay, because we tried. We reached out. We refused to accept the loneliness as inevitable. The stars are still here. The universe is still vast. And Voyager is still traveling, a small, brave machine carrying our dreams into the dark. I close my eyes and see it tumbling slowly through the void, its golden antenna catching starlight, its record gleaming softly. I see it crossing the space between stars, the space between galaxies, the space between thoughts and dream. And I realize that Voyager isn't alone. Not really, because I'm thinking about it. Because you're thinking about it now, hearing its story, feeling its journey. As long as someone remembers, as long as someone cares, Voyager is not alone. None of us are. We're all travelers. We're all moving through the dark, carrying our own messages, our own hopes, our own golden records full of the sounds and images that define. We drift and tumble and wonder if anyone will hear us, if anyone will understand. And sometimes, just sometimes, our paths cross. We find each other in the vastness. We connect, if only for a moment, if only long enough to say, I see you, I hear you, you are not alone. That's what Voyager taught me. That's what this encounter meant. We are all reaching. We are all hoping. We are all broadcasting our hearts into the void, trusting that someone, somewhere, will listen. The ship carries me forward, away from Voyager, deeper into the dark. But I'm not afraid. I know that somewhere behind me, that small, silent machine is still traveling, still carrying its cargo of human hope across the light year. It will outlast me. It will outlast everyone I know. It will outlast our civilization, our planet, our species. But it will never be forgotten. Because even if no one finds it, even if it drifts for eternity unheard and unseen, it existed. It mattered. It was proof that we were here, that we cared, that we tried. And that's all any of us can hope for, really. To matter, to be remembered, to know that our reaching meant something, even if we never knew where it would lead. Your eyes are heavy now. Let them close. Let the story settle around you like a blanket. Let Voyager's journey become your journey, drifting through the dark, weightless and free, carrying something precious into the unknown. Sleep is near. Let it come. Let it carry you into dreams as deep as space, as quiet as the void between stars. I'll keep wondering. And somewhere, always, Voyager will keep drifting, a small golden testament to the fact that we hoped, that we reached out into the vastness and said, hello. We wanted you to know, and maybe, just maybe, someone will hear us. For now, let your thoughts drift. Let the universe hold you. You are safe here, in the dark, in the quiet, in the space between stars. And somewhere always Voyager travels on, silent, steady, eternal, a whisper in the void, a hope that refused to die. A machine that learned perhaps what it means to be human, to journey not knowing the destination, to speak not knowing who will hear, to love not knowing if it will be returned, and still, to keep going. The darkness is complete now. The stars blur and soften. The universe breathes around us, slow and patient. And in that breathing, in that patient dark, we find what we've been looking for all along. Not answers, not certainty, not even connection, though that would be nice. Just the courage to keep reaching, to keep trying, to keep sending our voices out into the void, trusting that somewhere, somehow, that we'll matter, and that. Good night, dear friend. Let Voyager's journey cradle you into dreams. Let its silent courage remind you that you too carry something precious through the dark. And let the stars, those ancient lights, watch over you as you rest. You are not alone. None of us are. We're all traveling together through the vast and patient dark, carrying our hopes like golden records, broadcasting our hearts into the infinite. And somewhere, always, someone is listening. Sleep now. The universe will keep turning, the stars will keep burning, and Voyager will keep drifting, carrying our message forward into the endless night. Rest well, dream deeply, and know that you are held always by something larger than yourself. The void is not empty. It's full of travelers, full of hope, full of us. Good night.